2021 at 7:33 p.m. I announced the date and year just in case we have any time travelers. Let's see, can we have a roll call, please?
Okay. Director Boyd?
Here.
Director Decker?
Here.
Director Harvey?
Here.
Director Slater-Carter?
I am here.
Director Lohman is not present.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. Let me see on the agenda. Let me get the agenda to where I can actually see it. I apologize, I'm having a little trouble with my browser. Do we have any items on the, well, we don't have a consent agenda tonight, right? So let's start with a president's statement. The governor has escalated the state of the water emergency in the state, and we are about as well prepared as we can be, but I think and it's important that we continue to conserve. The thing that was in the governor's statement that I think is worth really repeating, it's not clear if we're going to get another year of drought or not. So we should be behaving and planning for continued drought until it abates. So thank you for all the conservation that this community has been doing, and let's keep doing more of it. Do we have any oral comments for items that are not on the agenda? I don't see any hands raised. No wild gesticulations. Okay, let's move on. We have 3 items of new business. Let's go to new business 1, review and possible action concerning filing notice of completion for the 2020-2021 sewer improvement project and spot repairs.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So last year we actually entered into an agreement with Pacific Trenchless, pretty much a year ago, for the construction of improvements to main lines in Montara and Moss Beach. We now received a letter from the district engineer, Pippin Cavagnaro, that lets us know that the project is completed. And I'm going to ask Pippin in a second here to tell us what work was done. I'm pretty pleased that we got a little more work done than originally was planned, and we're able to shift some things around and address some key points in the district. So I think it was a very effective program this year. And so our engineer recommends now a notice of completion to be filed with the county recorder. And what that means is that after a 35-day lien period, some additional line cleaning and televising of the lines, the 5% retention will be paid to the contractor. So the recommendation is to authorize the general manager to file the attached notice of completion with the county recorder. Pippin, if you could tell us which work actually was done this year, that would be great.
Thank you, Clemens. And thank you to the board for having this item up tonight. Each year we go through this process of evaluating needed capital needs to rehabilitate the sewer system and have a public bid where a contractor, licensed contractor who gets the lowest price can perform work to rehabilitate district sewer mains. The contractor this year is Trenchless from Oakland. The work consisted of lining and pipe bursting, where we have a design where the contractor uses a cable and pulls in like a solid, or not, I should say a welded complete pipe. So it's solid end to end with no joints. And we do that for between each of those manhole structures that are visible in the street in the project areas. And then reconnect and rehabilitate portions of the homeowner laterals where we get permission to do so. The ultimate goal is to reduce sewer overflows and as much as possible seal these systems so rainwater and groundwater does not leak in. Although we haven't had a lot of rain, actually, when the ground gets really dry, even small rains like this can go through those cracks in the soil and get right into the old clay pipes quickly. And that extra rainwater has negative impacts on the treatment plant. So we're always trying to reduce that. The work areas were primarily around the Date Hart pump station, which is at a kind of a low drainage basin in the backside of Montara. There was also a more visible section of work near the Taqueria on Virginia Street, rehabilitating a section there, which had some sags, and we identified through the additional cleaning and TVing that not just there, but also on California Street, we had sags that have been brought into the system because of soil movement. The fault lines and the natural topography has caused deformations in the pipe that was potentially making the water not flow downhill smoothly and could lead to backups. Additional work was done on Stetson, and also another repair area was identified out in Seal Cove. The crew made an additional discovery on the pipe that serves the elementary school. There was a broken section in the creek, which just above the creek, not in a place where anything could leak out, but it was situated so rainwater could easily collect and pour into the system through some cracks that developed over time. So all those things were sealed up, and the contractor did a good job working with the SAM staff to collaborate for additional cleaning and identifying spot repairs. So at this point,
I noticed on the contract that the amount that we awarded the bid for was $689,350 plus another $398,694. What was the additional $398,000 for?
well, we broke up. We weren't sure how the prices were going to come out, and also because the district budget, depending on the timing of the budget and other expenses, could have possibly needed to delay when work was done. We just issued 2/3 of the project in the base bid and 1/3 of the project as an alternate, divided up the bid items so that the unit prices carried equally across. So if we added more work, they would just do it at the same it's the same rate, just additional work. So at the award time, we recommended the price was reasonable to accept all the work and do all the work. The additional work which we added, including the repairs near the elementary school I mentioned, and some pipe work on California Street and in Seal Cove, and a little bit of extra paving that was required with that. Our overall project cost was only 11% more than the original bid amount. So.
But I have a question. Did we, am I on? Doesn't say so here. Okay, did we have any comments from the community, either praise or complaints or any of that?
We get both every year with pretty big projects. So, a number of folks, everyone has different circumstances. People are trying to sell a house, or they're trying to show a house, or they're needing to move. We had a number of different situations. We had, one owner who primarily lives out of state, and it was hard to communicate with them. And, he was upset at first until, he was able to meet with us and we could discuss how to, we were going to fix his driveway and so forth. So the contractor is very, very skilled at working with people. We had ultimately, I think, good resolutions in all the cases of where people were concerned. And we try to meet with folks weekly, and preferably a week or two before we do the work in their area to give them some notification. I know that in a couple cases when we had to add extra work, that work happened more quickly and there wasn't quite as much advance notification. So some residents that are well known to the board did have some concerns, and we did go back to address those concerns. Either how we finish the private property, whether they wanted their landscaping done differently or additional gravel put down or something like that.
And I want to thank Pippin there for navigating very elegantly around some difficulties and helping the contractor out. It happens every year. Majority of comments are very positive, but there are, of course, difficulties. We have to access private properties, and there are some issues that come along with that. I didn't hear in the extra work, I think I wanted to mention again that one of the things that I think was really good that we got done here also was the Farallon School got a new lateral at no cost. I think, first of all, that this lateral had a high potential to contribute to infiltration, and also it's going to save the school district a lot of money.
Well, and doesn't it save all of our ratepayers a lot of money because we don't have to pay for that I&I?
Yes. Correct. Yeah, it both saves the I&I, and we got done at bid prices, something that would have cost the school district $60,000, and so it really was a good savings to the community.
That's nice to hear. Good. Do we need a motion?
Catherine, I can ask, but is this for information or do we need a motion, Clemens?
This can be done by motion, I think, unless Christine corrects me.
I think we have a resolution. So a motion to adopt a resolution, I believe.
I'd like to make that motion.
Let's see. So, I mean, the recommendation in front of us is authorize the general manager to file the attached notice of completion.
I'm wrong.
So let's give direction. If there's no objection, let's direct the general manager to file the attached notice of completion with the county recorder.
We also have a resolution, Christine, you're correct. So we do also need, I apologize, we have to add that into the recommendation to adopt the resolution. Essentially declaring the work complete and approving and authorizing the release of retention. I think that's the main purpose of the resolution.
That makes sense. Okay, no, so I think that's adequate. Do we have a motion in a second for that?
I made that motion earlier.
I will second. I will second.
Thank you, Catherine. So let's have a roll call vote on the resolution, please.
Okay. Director Boyd?
Aye. Director
Decker?
Aye.
Director Harvey?
Aye.
Director Slater-Carter?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes 4-0. Thank you. Okay. Sorry, I'm having to jump between windows here. So the next item up, review and possible action concerning acceptance of the agreement for construction and acquisition of sewer main extension at 2190 Valimar.
Thank you, Scott. I want to apologize for a copy and paste error. I want to clarify that staff recommendation is to accept the main line, so not the agreement. We executed that agreement, I think last year. So by now, this main line has been constructed. It is essentially, the description is here. It's halfway up Valimar, going to Juliana, connecting directly to our pump station, and will serve the developments and new developments along Valimar Street. It also has the potential to be extended at a later time to serve the existing homes on Valimar. or any new development that will be built along that road. I'm going to ask Pippin again to tell us a little bit about how that construction went. And I think all in all, it was actually a very good process. So here the recommendation is to adopt the resolution of the Montara Water and Sanitary District approving the completion of the sewer main extension and accepting said improvements into the district's sanitary sewer system. Thank you. Pippin.
Thank you.
Take it over from here again.
Yeah, thank you. So several years ago now, there was an application to build several homes on the west side of Valamar Street near Juliana. And one of the district requirements in the district code is that any development that needs additional infrastructure, either water or sewer, to serve that property, if it's approved by the district and the capacity can be served, that the developer is responsible to pay for and complete the installation of those new facilities to district standard. And upon inspection and completion of the work, and after 1 year warranty, which would start after today's resolution, should it be accepted that the system would become a district asset and be owned and maintained by the district in the future. So the application process put in for 4 homes that were approved by the county, and the district requires the sanitary sewer to be extended across the frontage of each of those properties. The developer agreed to that. As Clemens pointed out last year, he agreed and designed a system that would meet the district standard. They hired a contractor who executed that installation after the rainy season during the summer. There were some challenges to getting it in. There's a lot of utilities in Valamar Street, including additional gravity sewers that are flowing in opposite directions from what was needed for this project, and a new and the original sewer stream from Montara flowing down to down towards Half Moon Bay. In addition, there's a water pipeline there that was put in during World War II. So the street's very full of utilities. Andrini Brothers completed the work. They were able to do all the work within district standards, and it's been about a month now since they completed the pressure testing and got the county to approve the final road paving this last few weeks ago. So the developer pays all costs, including our inspection time and district staff time, which they've completed that payment to the district and submitted an as-built for our records. So we have a clear picture of what was done. Anyway, so that's all been completed and is ready for service when those homes are completed.
So is that the development that has presently 1 house completed and the other 3 still waiting for construction?
Yes, that's the house. Yeah, each one of the houses will be pumped up to the sewer in the street, which is higher than they are. And they will, they'll each have their own private sewer pump that the house will maintain. And then the district would maintain the gravity portion just in the main street.
So we won't have the problem that we have with the older houses along Valamar, where we've been dealing with the probability or the likelihood in the future that the sewer main will be getting close to the ocean, and we're going to have to replace it.
That's correct. This is in the street, and so the houses would in many years the houses may fall in before the street does, but it won't be a district problem to deal with.
By then, yes. Okay.
Greg has his hand raised. Greg?
A couple of questions. What's the asset value being placed on MWSD books for this asset? Related questions, what's the useful life? Is it going on the books at current replacement cost value? And was any financial analysis of the impact of this extra financial burden on the district done to indicate the period of payback, for instance, from the homes using it to cover the cost and the burden? Peter, I know that's a surprise question for you, but I'm just curious, how's it all being handled? Or maybe Clemens knows.
So I don't know the answers to all of these questions, and I can get back to you because some of those are addressed by Peter Medina. We're very much used to hearing these questions from you and answering them in a similar fashion, of course. First of all, once again, the complete construction cost was carried by the contractor. There is a warranty that protects us right now for a certain time. On top of that, the homes are, of course, contributing to the system by essentially paying the connection fees for sewer in this case. And also there is in our sewer service rate always a component that is designed to replace facilities like those. So over the lifetime of the main line, these homes will pay a very high amount to contribute to replacements of the sewer line.
So there were connection fees charged in addition to the amount they contributed for the pipe?
Yes.
Okay, I'll put the questions in writing just so they're clear, and I'll look forward to your reply.
Yeah, I want to add here that we are presently looking into that situation that you have raised so many times, and we are finding out exactly what we can do and what we cannot do, especially in terms of connection fees.
Catherine?
I think that's a good thing to be looking at, because right now we get a portion of their property tax dollars in the every year from the sewer districts rates to property taxes because we're pre-1955. But with the hungry legislature seeking to make it so that all enterprise districts will probably lose that portion of the property taxes to which they are entitled. I think we need to be looking at replacement values, because that in the past has been, well, prior to ERAF, it was quite a bit of money. Now it's significantly reduced, but it still makes a difference in how we calculate the rates for our ratepayers. So we need to be looking at that. But until then, Greg, we will be receiving a portion of the property taxes for each one of those homes as well.
Yeah, I just want to see it in a spreadsheet. I mean, I know we have this conversation frequently. I just think it should be written down.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any further questions from the board? If not, can I have a motion for the resolution approving completion of the sewer main extension and accepting said improvements into the district sanitary sewerage system?
I'll make that motion.
So Peter, and do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. Peter first, Catherine second. Tracy, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Okay. Director Boyd?
Aye.
Director Decker?
Aye.
Director Harvey? Director Harvey?
Aye. Aye.
Director Slater Carter?
Aye.
Okay, so the resolution is approved 4-0. Thank you. All right. Next item, review and possible action to designate authorized voter to attend Aqua's general session meeting.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. So we recently voted for the Aqua Region 5 section. This is now the general session that usually happens at the fall meeting of the Association of California Water Agencies, just a wonderful acronym, Aqua. Actually, there is a need to attend in person or virtual to be able to vote for at this meeting. In this case, Director Slater Carter indicated that she would be willing to either attend in person or virtual to vote on behalf of the district. The district recently also adopted a resolution of support for the candidate for vice president of the Association of California Water Agencies. So I think we're going to have the question to Catherine if she really wants to attend this meeting. I'm not sure if that needs to be decided this time. I think it's a wonderful idea to get a little bit more representation at the Association of California Water Agencies and ensure that we are voting at this meeting and support the candidates that we already indicated that we are interested in supporting. So that's pretty much this agenda item. And with that, I'm going to hand it back to the board.
All right. Do we have any comments or questions?
I'll make a comment. I would like to go down there, schedule permitting, because I think what's going on with water in California, although it's always been pretty important, needless to say, is getting more important given the wild and crazy ideas that Sacramento is coming up with. And I think it's important for small districts to be rattling our little cage bars as well as the big districts wielding their hammers. I'm particularly interested in seeing what we can do to help get funding for aquifer enrichment from various sources, whether we're enriching the aquifer from surplus water or from recycled treated water. They're up in Marin, Clemens, I forgot, they're having saltwater intrusion.
Inverness area.
Inverness, that's it. And I think it's in the best interests of this entire district, including each and every one of the well owners, to start really looking towards how to get our own aquifer recharge going. Half Moon Bay is saying more and more about wanting recycled water, but we need it for our ratepayers. We need it for our community. And I want us to be able to have the means to be able to do it. And that involves getting the right kind of legislation.
I'm especially interested to find out what grants or particularly favorable financing proposals come out of Aqua or CSDA. I have, over these last 2 years that I've been a board member, not seen anything that really helps us in that direction.
It's generally aimed at the bigger districts, and the gamble that you make on having a construction-ready project when you don't know there's funding, and that adds up to a whole lot of money early. So we've got to be looking at this from as many perspectives as we can.
Historically, the grant money that we've been able to find has been on the sewer side and tied to the Clean Beaches legislation at the state. That's been the most productive. We've made other attempts, and part of winning grants is making the attempts. But you're right. There's not been until this administration, there has been almost no attention paid to anything but beneath the ground at the federal level. And this administration has made noises about the below ground infrastructure, but we haven't seen a lot of that being made available yet, but there's a lot of obstruction going on. So that kind of legislation may take a minute. But
we become a member of these organizations in the hope that they take all these small little districts together and then come up with a forceful argument to give us the financing, but I haven't seen any of it.
Well, it's not just about the financing, it's also representing us on other issues that matter to us. Like, for example, what happens with the Brown Act and
Yes.
what happens with staving off unfunded mandates. So there's sometimes no change at all is good, because if they hadn't been involved, we would have been, socked with more work that we wouldn't have any money to pay for. So it's like, sometimes it's just holding your ground. Sometimes it's just making sure that the legislators have the right, have enough information so that they're not passing legislation without taking us into account. The money is great when we can get it, but money coming to smaller public agencies across the nation has been very, very sparse the past decade.
Yeah,
I will say,
I can't blame Aqua for not, for what's happening in Sacramento and in DC.
I will add that many of the benefits are like working on environmental issues. It's what you don't see that are the victories. You see a tunnel. What you don't see is that enormous freeway that would have been a major landmark to memorial to old history and old development patterns. So having a voice is very important, because the legislators count numbers, and they count how many members they are, and they count whether the members add letters or not. So it's important to be part of this. And like I say, it's scary, some of the things that have been proposed in the legislature that didn't make it very far, fortunately.
Yeah, I think we're at the point now, though, where I'm expecting Sacramento to do more, very deliberate funding work for helping water agencies get more secure in their supplies. But
I'm just afraid that with the present rush to find cancer-causing plastic chemicals in the water, that we will get new requirements that cost us a fortune to abide by.
Exactly. And one of the things I think we can use both for our ratepayers and any of the public who drinks our water is we have some of the purest water out there.
That's
Fortunately,
good.
because we have development here and very little industry. The ones that are really hurting are the ones with more industrial.
Yeah.
Well, and above ground storage and pulling their water from, great distances. We're truly blessed as a water district to have local sources, mostly underground.
Yeah, we have the airport to be concerned about.
We do, but we can manage that. We know it's there, and we don't have to draw a large quantity of water from there.
Yes.
And we know what we know quite a bit about that water. And
yes.
So let's see. So we were looking. The recommendation is to authorize Catherine to be our representative, and then to designate an alternate who might be able to attend.
No, not to be a representative at the convention. I don't know if Rick wants to not be the Aqua representative or not.
No, this
Catherine,
is
that was a two-part. That was two sentences. One was the recommendation for you to be the in-person representative at the convention.
Okay.
And the second part of the written recommendation is to designate an alternate who could attend virtually if needed.
I like that.
Sounds good.
So
if somebody would make a motion.
Do we need a motion for this, or can we do this by acclamation? Do we know? Tell you what, let's not take any chances. Can we have a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Peter. Tracy, can we have a roll call, please?
Okay. Director Boyd,
Aye.
Director Decker,
Aye.
Director Harvey,
Aye.
Director Slater Carter.
Aye.
Do I understand
Okay.
the motion to be that the Director Slater Carter is voting on behalf of the district and Rick Lohman is the alternate? Or who's the alternate?
Yes, it's the motion is written in the agenda, or the recommendation is written in the agenda. That's my understanding. Is that your understanding, everyone? Everyone
Yes.
nod in agreement, if we're in agreement? I saw one smile, somebody reading. I'm hearing no objection. So Clemens, that's our understanding.
Okay,
Let
thank
the
you for
record
confirming.
show that we're following, that we agreed with the recommendation 4-0. Okay, let's do some reports. Sewer Authority Mid Coast Side.
Everything is progressing. The plant is running well. We'll see what happens after the 2.5 inches of rain that we're getting this weekend. That's certainly of serious concern. We have a meeting next Monday, and the agenda is for continuation of the video meetings. I'm running through the agenda right now. We want an MOU between San Mateo Resource Conservation District, San Francisco PUC, Coastside County Water District, SAM, and San Mateo County for the continued operation of the Pilarcitos Creek Half Moon Bay gauging system. That's been in for a very long time. I haven't heard any problems. We are authorizing the general manager to enter into a contract with a consultant for the non-domestic wastewater source control permitting, and that's not to exceed $90,000. And we are going to authorize the general manager to enter a contract with the Peninsula Pump for relocating the pump for the rotary drum thickener from upstairs to the basement of MB2, not to exceed $60,000. There was, and then aside from that, there was a sea level rise workshop given to the League of Women Voters. The video should be up either this week, I believe. In it, Jim Pruitt from the Harbor District, he's the general manager there, gave a very good presentation, and so did John Dowdy from Half Moon Bay. Both were excellent presentations. One of the things that was in Jim Pruitt's presentation was that the Princeton Pump Station is in a very, very bad location. It's subject to all kinds of problems. And we need to be looking at, and I'm hoping we can get a presentation to the board. Sam is talked about, and I believe already approved, putting in a temporary portable kind of pump station there. But when we get around to it is a question. And I would like to see that as a more of an urgency item. There was a study 4 years ago that showed a whole lot of salt water going into the system at night. I'm not sure it isn't coming in through the Princeton Pump Station leaks because it's below water table for the harbor. So that's something we need to pay attention. I would recommend that if people want to watch it, watch the part from Jim Pruitt and the part from John Dowdy. John Dowdy talked about the fact that Half Moon Bay has had a study, and most of their erosion is coming from the east to the west. It's coming down their creeks. And so it's widening the creeks and the different flow patterns. They're not having that much from sea level rise, but from the more serious storm drainage. So Other than that, that's about where we're at with Sam. Everything seems to be going along. And we're working on getting our audit done, or at least started before the end of the year. So we'll be keeping to work towards that, but our auditor hasn't contacted us recently. We're not sure why. Maybe they're just not used to having us be on time.
Is there also a renewal of the contract with the general manager?
That's his job review is coming up. Oops, I just got a bad battery reading. Just a minute. I hope
Do
I
you have
don't
anything further on Sam?
Nothing up further on Sam. We are going to be looking at Keishan's job performance review in the next month, in November. So if people have comments or observations, let me know.
All right, let's move on to the Mid-Coast Community Council report. And I'm guessing Greg might be the one with something to say.
Yeah, thanks, Scott. The MCC website has been advanced to a new version of Squarespace. It doesn't solve all our problems, but it's now more mobile. I am told that there is almost nobody that accesses the website on a PC anymore. Everybody's doing it on their phone. I bring this up because I don't know what your website's capabilities are, since I don't use my phone to look at any websites, but apparently it's a big deal that we've updated it. We got 2 consultants applying for the El Granada wildfire assessment scoping study. Len Erickson has agreed and produced a map, which we hope will motivate the consultant to consider the area of study to include the Caltrans bypass and Montara's watershed. But I can't guarantee that because the funding definitely says El Granada scoping study. But at any rate, we're going to be looking at the issues of eucalyptus, the wind patterns, and so forth. We're coming out with a newsletter. Our quarterly newsletter will be out. I think many of you saw I wrote an article on the lawsuit. Nobody from Half Moon Bay wrote me back, strangely enough. And I have had some problems with my stuff being pulled off of Nextdoor. I don't know if other people have had this issue. Apparently because it's on a monetized blog. I don't understand how you could post an article from any reputed news source and not have it be disputed as coming from a monetized source, but I'm not getting paid for them. And then finally, I wrote an article today, and I'll just make the suggestion because I've been approached by 3 of the 4 candidates for supervisor. I assume we'll all be together in the same district. We did write a letter, as I'm sure you did, encouraging that we maintain contiguity, if that's the word, of the coast side in the new supervisor redistricting. But because I've been asked by so many candidates to endorse and talk to them about stuff, I just thought, well, we don't know who's going to win. I'm not going to endorse anybody yet, or maybe ever. And why don't we have a platform of coastside issues that we expect our supervisors to think about? We're only 3% of the population, if you even include Pacifica to Half Moon Bay. So why don't we come up with our own list of things we want to educate them about and have them be thinking about on our behalf? So I'm volunteering to do that. I'll be doing it anyway. I'm going to suggest at the MCC meeting, and I encourage if Montara has issues that they would like us to bring forward to the candidates, let me know. Send me an email, and I'll be glad to include them in this candidate issues list. I don't know what you want to call it, coastside concerns for candidates, so that we can bring them up to speed and get them to say in advance what they think they might do about stuff before we have to make a decision. That's it for me.
Something you might want to consider is an early candidate forum, since it can be done by Zoom.
Yeah, we'll be having one.
I know you will, but I just used the word early.
Yeah, I heard you.
Okay, so a couple of things.
What was that, Scott?
Why don't you finish?
I'm done.
Okay, a couple of things. One, I think it's entirely appropriate that the Mid-Coast Community Council, an elected municipal advisory council to the San Mateo County Board of Supervisors representing unincorporated Montara, Moss Beach, El Granada, Princeton, and Miramar, put together a list of the topics that are of interest to those communities. I think that's great. like, it's a really good idea. Let's do that. And second, it's called responsive design, and the MWSD website, which is a little hard to see right now, but you can see it.
Are you HTML5, you devil? Okay.
My camera's not adjusting, but
I
yes,
get it.
it's a responsive website and adjusts nicely, adjusts the layout to fit phones.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, we're there now too.
Well, I want to compliment our staff for getting us into that position, because in all the years that I did it, I knew responsive design was something that was important to do, but a little hard to fit into my spare time. So yay for staff. Good work. So let's go then, if we have nothing else, to the CSDA report. Rick's not here. Can anyone? I'm guessing we're going to skip this one. And I'm guessing we're going to skip the LAFCO report unless somebody has something, because Rick's not here. Attorney's report, Christine?
I have no report. Thank you.
All right. Director's reports. I know Rick doesn't have one. Anyone else? Jim, it was nice to see you on the trail the other day. I'm sorry I was taking a phone call. Otherwise, I would have maybe said a little more friendly hello. And Peter, the same. I tend to do phone calls and listen to certain things when I'm out. So I'm not really chatty when I'm on the trail, but it was really good to see you both out there.
It was good to hear. It was good to see. I just went by Martini Creek today and by the bridge, by the horse ranch, and the water is flowing. It's back up already.
That's great. And if anybody's watching and you haven't been getting out and hiking in the meadow or just even in the neighborhood streets, I see a lot of people out there. It's something that makes this whole sheltering in place kind of thing for those of us who are working at home. It makes it much more livable. So we live in a remarkable place. All right, General Manager's report.
Yeah, just a brief update to the rate review that we've been talking about. Peter has been great at pushing for this very hard. We have looked at this, and when I say we, this is really Alex Handlers with Bartle Wells and Peter Medina. We haven't gotten it further than some working documents. We believe that what we see in these documents is that there is no absolute immediate need to come to the board right now and ask for an increase or a rate study at this time. Our suggestion is to move the rate study back about 6 months or so. So let's say April, May timeline. I'll have a chance to connect with both members of the Finance Committee, Peter and Jim, and got their support on this as well. So want to just share that we're taking a little longer than we anticipated to bring these documents to the board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Clemens. Let's see, we are going to take a brief recess. We're going to thank the members of the public who have joined and watched. Greg, your hand is still up. Was there?
No, I just raised it.
Okay, your hand is up. I'm seeing if you have a parting comment.
I have a question or comment. When I last looked at the reserves of the district, and it's been a while, they didn't meet the requirements. So I'm curious, have the reserves gotten better?
Yes.
I'm curious how you could make that. All right. Well, I'd love to see the materials that you're using to decide that you don't need to do something.
Again, they're just working drafts right now, but when it comes to reserves, there is, yes, we cover the minimum reserves, certainly, yes.
Okay, we're going to take a brief recess and then we're going to reconvene in closed session. We're going to be talking about the city of Half Moon Bay suing Granada and Montara and even the Sewer Authority. We're going to discuss one potential case of anticipated litigation and another possible initiation of litigation. And then if we take any action in closed session, we will report that out afterwards, and that will be in the minutes. With that, I'd like to thank everyone for joining in. Thank you for the participation of those of you who participated. Always thank you to Michelle and PCT for helping get the word out to the community. We really appreciate that. And please keep doing that. Please draw more people in. We look forward to seeing more people in future board meetings. So with that, let's recess until, let's say 8:30, and we'll reconvene.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.